Thanks for watching The Instant Reaction. For full episodes of the Cannon Podcast, sign up as a YouTube member on this channel or go to patreon.com/thecannonpod.
Welcome back to The Instant Reaction. Just me today, a very ill me as well, to react to that 5-0 drubbing of Burnley. I'm going to have some vitamin C. That was delectable. Unbelievable game. Unbelievable orange. Let's start chatting. Unbelievable stuff. So when are we booking the flights to Dubai? Because whatever they did in Dubai is working, mate. Unbelievable game. We're just so good in every phase of play. Every single phase of play. Counter press, stretching them. We'll talk Trossard and Havertz and how that's all working. The wide players, the rotations in the first and second phase, did I say the counter press, the winning the high turnovers, everything, every single phase of play. It says like literally spit. Lads, I'm so ill. George and Bhavs have bailed on it. And it's just me soldiering on. But unbelievable performance. Get well soon, Alex. Thank you so much. Odegaard gave me a life-changing performance today, says Risto. Yeah, Odegaard, unbelievable. We'll come to all the individual performances. Stadiums are empty everywhere they go. Did you hear Burnley fans go, we get battered everywhere we go? I didn't. Hope the Smith Rowe shot would have gone in. Molly says, yeah, mate, we are so good, aren't we? We are so good. Kiss, chef's kiss. Where should we start? Okay, let's do this. Look, whatever they did in Dubai, what has changed something. I think the freshness. I think one of the big things for me is about Ben White. I think he's managed to get himself fit. However, he's done it. It's helping massively on that right hand side. I think we could do some tactical stuff, couldn't we? Get our tactics board up. Whatever he's been doing has massively helped on that right hand side. There's just something so useful about this dynamic in the build up. Let me just share my screen. Look at this. We're doing live tactics boards. Unbelievable. Something so useful about this dynamic with White. I'm just going to bring the 4 players in. Let's do Saka. Let's do Odegaard. Let's do Mr. Benjamin. And let's do Mr. Raya. The ability for when Odegaard drops in, for White to step in here. Let me just zoom in a little bit. For White to step in here, that means Saka's got space outside to receive. When White steps out here, Odegaard comes here, and there's the triangle. The ability to come inside, Odegaard can pull out. There's another triangle in here. The ability to have a fullback who's fresh and can make these runs in here, is comfortable in these inside zones. We even saw Cedric doing it. Is comfortable in these inside zones, opens up so many possibilities. It means everything is possible. You can basically go anywhere and pull teams around. And I thought Ben White being fresh and available to not only make those overlapping runs, which we've seen, and not just stay in that pocket here as the number 3, to be able to come inside, pull out those understandings was unbelievable today. Another dynamic that I absolutely love right now is that Havertz and Trossard one. Both of them knowing one of them can drop in here and Trossard can make that run in behind. And let's just put a Burnley player in. When Trossard makes that run, it pulls all the Burnley players back, and then Havertz has got the space to operate. Similarly, Trossard can drop back in. Havertz can stay here. It's a bit of a different type of 9. I'd say more of a sort of backboardy 9 when he's a 9 than Trossard, who's a bit more sort of running behind, I'd say, and just creates a different type of dynamic. Again, that dynamic in there, I just really like it. I really like it. I love the dynamics in the team at the minute. The left hand side, Kivior's probably the only player, and we should come to Kivior on an individual level. Kivior's probably the only player who I'd say I think maybe is a little bit stiff positionally, arguably. But yeah, unbelievable. Don't use the C word here. Oh, Cedric. Oh, sorry. I thought I swore. I was like, did I say the C word? I swore I didn't. But yeah, look, I just think in every phase, our counter press is so sharp. It's so sharp. Ben White, again, I want to praise, stepping in early and high and winning the ball high. Odegaard, Havertz stepping in high and winning the ball high. We get it back so quickly. There was a moment in the first half where Burnley had a little breakaway essentially, and then Rice just went, no. It made me laugh. It literally made me laugh how dominant we were. And I haven't actually seen the numbers. We can have a look at the numbers in a second, but unbelievable. Let's look at the numbers. Look at the stats. Look at the most important stat of the day: expected Dubai trips. Here we go, lads. Here we go, and ladies. Let me just share my screen. There it is. The beautiful. So you all think we're on the way to a title. I'll tell you, we are on the way to a title. The title of the field tilt. Unbelievable. The XG, 1.7 XG. Mad. 1.7 XG and 5 goals. We are running hot at the minute. 16 shots, 5 goals. Spanking it. They have 30 final third entries compared to 51. I wouldn't necessarily thought that. There's the running XG. Burnley had absolutely nothing all afternoon. We left them with 0.3 of an XG. Absolutely nothing in terms of shots. And then obviously our favourite thing there, field tilt. Incredible. PPDA down at 7.7. And that's another thing towards the end. What's so impressive, our PPDA, what's so impressive is in these types of games, you could argue, especially towards the end when it was, 5-0 and we were just basically knocking it around for fun. You could expect players like Martinelli, who played in 90 minutes. You could expect players like Odegaard, who played 90 minutes, to drop off. If anything, I thought they were working harder, tracking the men inside. Kivior, I thought was brilliant. A couple of people asking you what PPDA is. PPDA is passes per defensive action. Don't know, ironically, it says. What's PPDA? Yeah, passes per defensive action, i.e. how many passes do the opposition play before you commit a defensive action, whether that's the attempt to tackle or attempt some kind of defensive action, a block or whatever it is. So it's essentially a good measure of how much you press. I'm so ill, lads. Really good performance. Trying to think of what I haven't covered. Yeah, that Trossard and Havertz dynamic, I'm really, really pleased with. I love that understanding it's beginning to develop. It does make me think. I think Jesus is in our best 11 right now, but does Jesus come straight back in to this team when that dynamic is so present and so important to this team right now? I don't know. To come straight back in, it's a really lovely dynamic. I love what Trossard's doing in the team right now. He could have had 2 or 3 more goals. Really, I think he left a couple of goals on the pitch. We should probably discuss Bukayo Saka, shouldn't we? Actually, let's go through the whole team. David Raya basically did nothing today. I found the comments from Mikel in the week quite interesting about what he prevents that you don't see. The idea that he's sort of, I don't know, I guess he's, snuffing things out. I think, we could see that in more obvious ways in terms of how he claims crosses and all that sort of stuff. But I actually think Raya, in terms of the proactivity coming out, in terms of the high positions he puts himself in, stopping things before they even start, I think is important. And we've had Raya for nearly since, I think it was the Goodison Park game, right? That he came in, so that was September, October time, and I can't remember one massive save he's made. Now, you can't have both things. You can't say, well, we're a brilliant team who stop other teams from getting any non-penalty XG, and also I'm expecting my goalkeepers to be pulling out these unbelievable saves every single game. Sorry, he's had a couple of good saves, but he never feels like he's stretched. It never feels like he's really got a problem. And at some point, you have to start to go, is that a feature of his game that he never looks like he's got a problem? I think what Arteta loves about Raya, my sense, I've asked him actually. I'll text him. Ironically, I think I have Mikel Arteta's number, and I'm not even joking. Someone gave it to me. I don't think it is his, but it's like one of those. It's on his WhatsApp contact. It says a Liverpool address from his Everton days, and I'm like, I don't think it is him. But anyway, but yeah, I think what Arteta likes from Raya is his ability. His obviously his calmness on the ball, his all the things in terms of his goalkeeping qualities, but most specifically the fact that he knows exactly what he's getting from him every single game, every single time, and that must be incredibly useful. That's what you want from a goalkeeper. You do want that from a goalkeeper, to know exactly what you're getting every single time. White, I think, is back to his best in Arsenal shirt. I think Ben White has been terrific the last few games. He looks fresher. I think Tomiyasu and Timber hopefully returning as soon as possible is going to help. I also think even his ability, I think in this new role with Kivior, he finds more invitation to come inside and maybe rest a little bit more during the game. And I think a fresh Ben White, as I was talking about earlier, absolutely just transforms that right hand side, because it just creates all those extra overloads, all that ability for Odegaard to go where he wants to go, all that ability for Saka to go where he wants to go. Fresh Ben White is so important. Saliba, what can you say? Interesting that he's coming onto the right hand side of a three. The thing I think with Saliba sometimes when he steps out, I do wonder, he always looks a little bit hesitant when he steps out of his pocket and he comes forward with the ball, and he's kind of feels like he's like going, I don't quite know what to do, and he usually plays it backward to the side. I'd love to see him travel with it. I'd love to see him get more options in possession. I don't think it's something that the Green Shark has commented Lord Cedric about 15 times, so I'm going to let you have that way. I think once he steps out of his pocket, I'd love us to see a little bit more combination with Saliba, a little bit more rotation, a little bit more, just a little bit more. What's the word? Technical empathy, as Georgia brought it. I really want him to have more technical empathy. I really want Saliba, to just really get some. Stupid. Gabriel looked really good. He's Gabriel. Kivior. Let's come to Kivior. I think Kivior's been fantastic. I think he's been really, really solid, Kivior. Really liked him. In the last few games, it looks like he's growing in confidence. I think a lot of what Kivior brings that is kind of beyond he's got all the sort of the base attributes of an Arteta defender in terms of sight, size, height, in terms of his how he receives in different spaces, in terms of how he defends, in terms of how he can deal with things physically. But I think the thing that makes him special are things that require a little bit more confidence, like spraying those long balls, coming inside and taking it on the back foot and going, as he did for Spezia. I think the more he spends time in the team, the more we'll see his more special qualities come to the fore, and dealing with situations proactively. There was a moment where Saliba lost someone on our left hand side, and Kivior dealt with him in the first half really, really well, and had a number of really good moments. Really, really rate Kivior. I think he's done really well. Declan Rice. What can you say? What more is there to say about Declan Rice? He's beyond good, isn't he? He's beyond good. He's just, again, same with David Raya. You don't want to be going into games with question marks. You just don't. You don't want to be going into big games, Man City's, your Liverpool's, your Champions League, quarterfinals, semi-finals, hopefully finals, with question marks over any player. You want to know exactly what you're going to get. And I would say there's Saliba, no question marks. Raya, no question marks. Declan Rice, absolutely no question marks. Saka, probably, we'll come to in a second, probably finishing off the question marks if there were any before. Odegaard, a couple of question marks. Martinelli, a couple. But, there's a group of players now that you're just going, exactly what you're getting from that player every single week. He is dynamite, mate. I can't praise him anymore. I can't praise him anymore. He's ridiculous. He's absolutely ridiculous. Odegaard, I thought, was terrific today. Again, he always works hard. He always works hard out of possession. But his weight of pass, that slip ball in the channel between the left back and the left centre back, it was really, really performing today. Really, really working for him. His combinations with Saka, his combinations dropping deep, knowing. I think one of the things I love at the moment is we're really not very easy to work out, because it's not just that Odegaard stands in the half space and Havertz stands in the half space. Odegaard drops, then Havertz comes down, and then Rice steps in, and then Odegaard receives in the pocket in the two, and then it just depends what they're. I think a lot of it is feeling and instinct, and right. Well, Gabriel's got the ball there. I'm going to look where I am. Right, Martinelli's actually a little bit further up. I'm going to step over here. All that stuff. It's just, it's just so good to watch, and it's all understanding and yes, it's coaching in terms of going, right, well, if I'm in this space here, where does that person need to be? But then once you all know those roles and those positions, right, okay, Saliba's got the ball there. What options does he need? You've heard all these sorts of conversations. Rob Holding talking, Kieran Tierney used to talk about it, about the options that everyone has to have in possession. And you can see that. And then once you know that, you go, right, well, I know that the 8 needs to stand here. I happen to be the fullback. I'm in the 8th position. Let me create the space for him. Let me look at this. You can see them all. It's that one brain thing that's really starting to click now. And players can just pop up in zones of positions that you don't expect them to, which is so exciting. Holding this orange like a, I don't know, like a baby. Come here. Um, Kai Havertz was really good. The one thing I will say about Havertz, I still want a bit more affectation on the game, other than today when he scored in general. I think he goes down under contact a little bit too easily, but there's so much intermediate value stuff that Havertz does that I need to watch the game back. But I know I missed, but even on the first watch, I feel that sense of Havertz, just pass here, make the run there to create the space, all that sort of stuff. And I think it's one of those things where you have to sit down and watch just Havertz and be like, yeah, if he didn't make that run, that space isn't created, or if he didn't, he's so clever. His weight of pass, obviously the goal today as well. His weight of pass. The only thing I'd say is about the going down a little bit under contact. But again, is that is Arteta saying slow the game down, don't let Burnley get any what's the word I'm looking for? Not motivation, flow, impetus, momentum. That's the word. Dan Fry says Satsuma, please confirm. I don't know the difference between a Satsuma and an orange and a tangerine. I don't know what they are. I think it's a Satsuma. What does it look like? There you are. Get your comments in. Momentum. Yes, that's right. I don't know. Thank you. Yes. Coming to the front three, let's do our star boy, Lars Martinelli. It's a shame in the last two games we've had 10 goals. No, 11 goals in the last two games, and Martinelli's haven't got a goal or an assist, which is crazy. But I don't worry about him. He's one of our best finishers, and I think he's a terrific player. I'm sure he will be more annoyed than anyone that hasn't happened for him. And it's not he wasn't trying. He was stretching defenses. He was involved. He looked active. He looked at it. So it's not that at all. Trossard, yeah, a little bit wasteful sometimes in terms of his finishing, but you can't fault the work ethic of the player. Something I love, and something I said on a pod, I think this week. Trossard, it doesn't feel like he's ever really. He won't sort of, what's the word, change a game himself. But when we're playing well, Trossard is always at the centre of it. It's always at the centre. He is always at the centre of it. He's always combining, stretching, dropping into the pockets to link, rolling out wide, coming inside, doing all the things that everyone else does. And he always looks so technically secure, so physically secure. He can run, he can play. He's really, really good. Abhishek says Martinelli got the first goal assist. Did he? I'm not sure he did. Could be wrong. I have been wrong before. And then Mr. Bukayo Saka. So I said on a podcast recently, on a Cannon podcast, I don't think Saka is world class. And what I think I mean, because I'm wrong, I am wrong, let's be clear. What I think I mean is I don't think he's in the Vinny Jr., Salah, and Mbappe conversation. That was my point, is that those guys are world class. Is he in the same category as them? For me, no. But now I'm like, there needs to be another level above world class, because I can't not call this guy who's putting up Cristiano Ronaldo numbers and scoring 6 in 5 in the Premier League world class. I can't. So he is world class. I'd probably put him at right now as he's playing. I still think Mbappe and Salah are maybe in an elite category above, but he's world class. He's world class. He is just, if he keeps going at this level, then he can push that level as well. I just, everything he does, the fact he's unlocked this weak foot finish, the strength he shows, the maturity he shows, the tactical discipline he shows to not go roaming and wandering, the defensive ability he shows. Honestly, he's extraordinary. He's extraordinary, and he's from our academy. He came through it. He was playing with Reece Nelson and all these guys. We didn't sign this guy from Real Madrid. He is elite, absolutely elite. Green Shark, you've commented this about 100 times. I think it's an indictment on how bad Burnley are that Cedric was playing the Ben White role inverted, and he looked quite good. I thought Cedric looked all right. He's Cedric. He's not never going to do anything. But yeah, Jesse Panda says Saka listens to the pod and said, "Nah." I didn't think Nketiah or Nelson had particularly good cameos. Smith Rowe looks okay, looked fresh, which is nice. Nice to have him back. Yeah, only come to all your questions in a minute, so because I'm just waffling at this point. But the only two negatives, because I will find them. Someone this week commented and said I always look for the negative, and you're right. I've spent 20 minutes talking negatives, so let me do two more. It is a shame about Tomiyasu and Vieira specifically, who I think were the closest not being able to play in this game in any sense. People say, well, they're not risked. It's only Burnley. I don't think that's how Arteta thinks. I think Arteta thinks I want you to play some minutes to get a bounce, ready for Porto. You need to get back in the groove of things. And I think even if you're a player of Tomiyasu's quality, you want him on the bench. You want him there, even if he can only play 10, 20 minutes. It's important. So, and I don't see Arteta as anyone who's going, it's only Burnley. That is not the coach that we have. So it's a shame. Wanyeri apparently had a little knock, so he's perfect for the first team. So yeah, let me come to your questions. So get them all in the chat. Thank you so much. There's nearly 800 of you in here just watching me on my AirPods, sounding ill. So appreciate it. Smash the likes, subscribe. The modern day philosopher says, "Where was Wanyeri? He wasn't on the bench. Yeah, he was. He had a knock in training, I think, along with Walters, which is why he wasn't in." Robert Emmanuel, John Joe says Saka took it personally and went boom. Yeah, I wonder how much Saka. I mean, to be clear, I'm not suggesting he listens to the Cannon podcast, but I wonder how much he's aware of the Rio conversations and how much he's aware of the stuff about Foden on Talksport and stuff. Yeah, I do wonder about that, and I think if you're Saka, it can only serve as motivation. I don't think Saka's ever thought I'm not good or I haven't got the skills. I think he's always believed and known that he has the quality, and I think we're seeing it. Jasper Napen says, "Does Trossard fit in your first 11? Does Trossard fit in my first 11? I think right now I wouldn't change the team. I'd have Erdegaard on Jesus. Sorry, just reading the next comment. Jesus on the bench. But I think in my ideal first 11 for Arsenal Football Club, is Trossard in it? Probably no. But right now, the ability that he's showing with the combinations he's showing with Havertz, the quality he's showing in the build-up, the counter press he's showing, why not? Need to add expected Dubai trips up there with field tilt. Absolutely agree. I genuinely, I was in Dubai over Christmas, and it is a great place. It is a great place. For some people, we'll leave that there. Are we winning the Premier League or the Champions League this season? I know I'm toxic and negative, but I still think we are coming second in the Premier League. I just think City. I've always said I think Liverpool have the players and not quite the system, and we have the system but not quite the players. I think City have both, and they'll come together and do it. But let me tell you, the system is much better to have because you can always have players, you can always have talent and quality. You can't always add the principles, the belief that they're showing in Arteta, the work. Martinelli at the end was absolutely dogged after some of these Burnley players, and to fight for your manager in that way, to believe what your manager is asking you to do in that way is unbelievable. Stephen Salzburg, good name. When will Partey be back? I don't know. I'll text Mikel and find out. It sounds like he was in. That's a joke. Sounds like he was in close. I think he's back on the grass, but we'll see. No celebrating yet. Yeah, sorry. I've been far too happy this stream. What will Lee Gunner say this time? Bless him. Where are we? Let's do I need Cedric Luck in my life. This guy, he might win a Premier League title or a Champions League title under contract at Arsenal Football Club for, is it 4 years now? Will it be 4 full? So he came in so end of 20. So yeah, half 2021, 21, 22, 22, 23, 23. So he's going to have played 4.5 seasons at Arsenal. Paid 70. I think it's like 75 grand. I don't think it's like people say 100 grand a week. I don't think it's 100 grand a week. And he's going to get a medal. Listen, Listen, fair play to him. Fair play to him. Ryan Finity says Arteta out. We didn't score a corner. Yeah, terrible. Come on. He is our workforce. I think he's talking about Martinelli. He is our workhorse, our Mane, not appreciated like Salah, but just as important. Yeah, Martinelli works so hard. So hard. Gideon Griffiths, you once talked about feeling like Saka was your son. Do you get the same feeling with Smith Rowe? I don't. I don't. I don't feel that was. I don't feel like the Arsenal fan base feel that with Smith Rowe. It's funny actually. I remember talking about like when they first both were getting into the team, and Saka kind of came first, but then Smith Rowe had almost like a bigger jump, had that almost bigger impact. We knew Saka was good, but Smith Rowe had that moment of like, oh my god, who's this guy? Which I think Saka quite had, sort of just slowly built. And I think Smith Rowe, I think it takes time to grow an affinity, and I think Arsenal fans, naturally, the more you spend time on the field, I think you build up an affinity with people. So Alex, where will Kylian Mbappe 14 fit in our best front line? Well, he's got to dislodge Nketiah. He has got to dislodge Nketiah. Arteta is boosting Cedric's valuation for the swap deal with Mbappe. I like how you spelled Mbappe, J. Allen. Is there any chance you invite subscribers on the instant reaction? Well, not at the moment, but we could do that at some point. We could do that. I mean, I could have used some help. Got ditched by the boys. What does expected GOT mean? Expected goals on target? No. Expected goals on target? That can't be right. I don't think that's right. Vieira comes on for Erdegaard. He has good passing and technical. Not for me. Nketiah has set a high standard in his last 2 super sub appearances. Not for me. Real recognised real says, would you keep any of these players in the squad next season? El Neni, Eddie, Cedric, ESR, Nelson, Jorginho. Let's go through them. El Neni, I think, is leaving anyway, and I think we've moved past that. I think there isn't the kind of energetic 6. I don't think is a role that we need anymore. Eddie, no, I think we'll add some superstar power to our front line, so I can't see that happening. Cedric, I prefer to speak. ESR, I don't think we have that profile unless we sign that in the summer, which I think would be for a lot of money. The ability to receive high up, to rotate out wide and play and play on the overlap with the winger. His carrying, he has a lot of things that we don't have in the squad. So I wouldn't sell Smith Rowe. He's not in my team, but I wouldn't sell Smith Rowe. But we're getting close on the contract. So if a big offer comes in, who knows? Nelson, I wouldn't. Nelson's had so much time and opportunity at Arsenal, and people say, "Well, why isn't he starting?" They see him every day in training. If he was better than the guys we have, he'd start. So, and I just think when he has been on the pitch, there's a lack of end products, and there's a lack of ruthlessness at the top level that we can't really be dealing with. Jorginho, I would keep him because I think he's unless we go out and sign a sort of controller dictator 6'8", more of a sort of Zubimendi. But I think for the squad role, who he is, what he does, I don't think we have that at the minute, and I like that as a squad role. The sort of the controller dictator type 6, I think is really nice. King Kylo Lex, Reece is our only genuine winger though. Yeah, I think because Martinelli can play centrally, it doesn't make him not a genuine winger. I think he's quite a typical winger. And what does a typical winger mean anymore? And what is a typical winger or genuine winger in an Arsenal system? You're asked to come inside. You're asked to fill in the pockets. You're going to be, overlapped. You're going to be doing certain things out of possession. You're not. It's not knock it down. You fall back and whip it in anymore. You're not doing that. So I don't know. I think it's hard to say that. Lovely knit sweater, Alex. Thank you very much. Do you think we should go for Jeremy Frimpong in the summer? I don't think that's the type of defender Arteta likes. I think the sort of up and down. I think he likes the fact that Ben White has that triangle, the ability to step in, the ability to come out, the ability to drop, step forward, pull into the half spaces, pull out. I think that whole control of that side is what he wants, which takes a very technical footballer. Frimpong's a great player, but he's more of a up and downer, good defender, can whip it in, kind of fullback, which is fine for certain systems. But that was what I would say to that. Patrick Dawson, I have an anti-Nketiah agenda, and today completely justifies it. I think a lot of people feel this about Nketiah. There's a kind of a growing sense of that he's not quite the flavour of the month at the minute, which is kind of understandable. I think we kind of moved past him a little bit. But there you go. Listen, lads, what a day of football. Spurs L. Shall we look at the table, shall we? Spurs L. Unbelievable. Hopefully, City drop some points. Arsenal women had the highest ever attendance at a Women's Super League match, I believe, and sold out the Emirates for the first time. Unbelievable. Let's just look at the Premier League table before we go. 4 wins for the last 4. 55 points, 2 behind Liverpool. City probably currently winning, aren't they? Are they currently winning? I don't know. Anyway, but look, we're looking in good shape. All we can do is win our games and hope that some points are taken off. Look, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the Cannon Podcast. Check us out on patreon.com/the Cannon Pod. You can have a 7-day free trial. Check it out. We put out a debate the other day of the top 10 Premier League managers of all time. And George and Bhavs both said that Fergie was number 1, and I completely disagree. I think it's Pep, and I would love you to go have a check out of that. Let me know what you think of the game. Like the video, subscribe. Thanks for being here. I'm gonna go have a lemon sip. Oh wait! Before we go, I'll be back.
You don't like to touch balls? So I love it. So yeah, come. You don't like to touch balls? You don't like to touch balls? Touch balls? You don't like to 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 touch balls? So I love it. The Korean guy, and so I love it. You don't like to touch balls?